Recording in progress.
Any better?
No,
No.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can see you are a human being wearing a green jacket now.
That's good.
Before, I could see
You
you.
can't read anything, right?
No, I can't read a thing.
So I can, but I can't see anybody else, so I'm opposite you.
And yet the public places that are facing us.
I don't like this thing that really, I looked up last night and I was like, right into it. Like, okay.
Well, someone took a screenshot
Yeah.
recently and
I was like, "Oh, I don't like that.
Absolutely. So.
You're quiet tonight, Darwin.
Oh, I'm listening, trying to learn something. What is the old saying? You're born with 2 ears and 1 mouth, and we should learn to use them proportionally.
That's good. I like that. Thank you.
It makes sense. You think about it.
That's the old family man.
Wow,
All that's left is that little tower.
oh my lord.
Yeah, Large Capital, it's the plan seat.
Yeah, where is that located?
It's, located in County Dunbartonshire,
Nice.
just north of Glasgow, across the law.
Oh, so your family with the lands of the castle?
Well, I've been looking at all the Macaulays that,
Yeah. I love it.
and,
Pretty sweet.
yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Have you ever watched any of the series Outlander?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I watched it until it got just uncomfortably, it was
It
just too much.
can be a bit brutal.
It was wicked brutal.
I'm still on just the first season. so
Yeah,
it
we-
hasn't been too
We
bad.
stopped watching after, I don't remember what. We liked the first one so much that I bought my wife the series in paperback so she could read it, but then we got to a certain point, it was like, okay, I think I could take this in.
This anymore.
It is remarkable what people can think up.
With the depravity.
Yeah, I mean, wow, it's like, what a some imagination. Yikes.
You're probably right.
I remember thinking that after The World According to Garp, it was such a, well-regarded film and book, but then I thought, geez, how can,
This guy.
how does a person come up with this stuff?
he's brilliant. That's right.
Okay.
He is a brilliant writer, was. He's actually written
not
better
really
books than
anything
that.
on the agenda other than the third party.
I think we should get going.
Okay.
All right, I'd like to call this meeting to order. I will accept a motion to approve the minutes of February 14, 2022.
So moved.
Second,
I think that's the next meeting on the 28th. You can approve them tonight if you want.
oh,
Oh,
I can
No, we can't because we don't have them.
Yeah, we don't-
Yeah, the packets I gave you are for Monday's meeting.
okay.
sorry.
So I have no agenda for tonight.
Yeah,
never got
yeah,
it.
it's in the
Yeah.
packet.
In the packet that
Gave it to
you
you
had.
in your binder last time. It was there.
Okay. Selectmen's reports. No, unfinished business, service groups, third-party budget, 2022, 2023 requests. Right. MDI Campfire Coalition, and by the way, please keep your presentations to 3 minutes or less. Thank you.
3 minutes, forget it, John. I can beat that hands down. So as all of you know, this is one of my favorite efforts. I'm Anne Marie Hart, Executive Director of the Neighborhood House. And for the past 13 heating seasons, in collaboration with the Harbor House in Southwest Harbor, we've done a heating assistance program. And the reason I love this program is because it's 100% pass through. So every penny we get buys heating fuel. And so far this season, we've done 54 households. And think about that. In just a few months, 54 households on our island have needed heating assistance and have qualified for heating assistance after we've approved their income and had proof of income. So sadly, it's a needed effort. Thankfully, we're here to help. And so we ask all 4 municipalities on the island to contribute $3,000 each year, which you've graciously done, all 4 of you. There's my presentation.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, and swinging right, any discussion? Anybody have any questions? No? And swinging right into Neighborhood House, Anne Marie.
Me again. Okay, so for the 15th year, we're requesting $88,000. For 117 years, the Neighborhood House has served the people of the town of Mount Desert. As I said, we have not asked for an increase in 15 years, but during that 15 years, our operating budget has increased by 63%. Well, like I said, the town request has increased by 0%. So we're certainly doing our fair share of the heavy lifting on our end to fundraise and do capital improvements and the like. And a lot of larger towns have municipal parks and rec departments. We don't have that. So we sort of serve in that capacity, and we're happy to do so. Any questions?
Anne Marie, you guys gonna try to do summer camp at some capacity this summer?
Yeah, so full transparency, I will tell you, we've been trying to communicate with the school. Certainly 2020, all bets were off for camp. And so last year we asked the school if we could have access. That was denied because of COVID. So we did standalone children's programming. We know we cannot go a third summer without summer camp in some shape or form. We have been trying to communicate with the school. We are getting radio silence from them, I will say. So just today, we have made contact with 2 local churches in town that have basically said, yes, you can come use our spaces if you need an alternate space to start to offer summer camp. So we are hell-bent on election to have a summer camp program this summer. That's what we do. That's what we're known for. That's what we like doing.
Okay, thank you. No, that's-
They got listed, like she was listed, and then both her things got listed. It was just-
All right, thanks, Anne Marie.
You're welcome.
Okay, so you pretty much covered all 3 of your entries here.
Yes.
All right, let's move along to the Mount Desert Chamber of Commerce.
I just wanted to first of all, thank you for all your
Would you
time.
be willing to come forward a little more so the microphone?
So people in the Zoom can hear you.
Okay. How's this?
Perfect.
Okay. Anyway, thank you for your time and consideration. As you can see, this year we have upped our request, and the main reason, and I know you just received the proposals, which would give you a very detailed reasoning why and how the program would work, but is that we would be looking at a combination position, which would be economic development, community development, and the chamber position, where the chamber does, works with the businesses, works with the visitor centers, doing the marketing, et cetera, as we've spoken about all these other years. But this position would also focus on the economic development, community development challenges and opportunities that are facing not only town of Mount Desert, but many municipalities. But I think that this could help with the communication, with the facilitation, and for example, with your economic development committee, and I've been in a lot of discussions with Dan McKay. I did not do this without his back, because I think it's very, very important. I mean, I remember when you started the committee, because they called us for a lot of information from elsewhere. Dan and I spoke about this, and I think that they do outstanding work, but they don't have the person to get it to the finish line. Because you've got to have a person working at it. You gotta, if there's a grant to get, that person does the legwork. Then the committee comes in, approves, looks at it, changes it, whatever it needs to be. And the town comes in, because then you, with grants and money, you may have to match it, whatever. I'm just giving examples. So this person can be your facilitator, your communicator, and the catalyst to bring all the programs and all the committees together to see, where Town Mount Desert wants to go and how to get there. Because there's going to be a lot of opportunity for funding coming down the pipe through the federal government. And I've seen all their reports, and I really do apologize. I could not get to those meetings because my job became a full-time job, not paid, but a full-time job with the pandemic. And I just chose to do that. So I just couldn't get to all of me. This position needs to be more than part-time. You need a full-time position to work on all of it. Work with all the departments, and make sure all the communications is funneled the way it needs to be, and work with the legislators, go to Augusta, fight for funds, it really does work. And I have to say, in Ellsworth, it worked. That's what the chamber and the municipality did. And you have to get the right person, but it can work. And I don't want to get into it all. That proposal, which I apologize that you didn't have, but that gives you all the details of how it would work. And I will be very open, and you have my cell phone, or people have call me and ask me questions, because I don't think you have had time to really read through this, and I apologize.
Mickey, I have a question for you. I understand, I think what you're proposing, and I haven't had an opportunity to read this closely, which I will. We're not voting on anything tonight, so. But here's my question. I understand we have had in the past an economic development consultant for the town, but the position you're proposing, would they be working for the town or for the chamber? It sounds like it's funded through the chamber by the town giving extra money. But who picks them?
Okay, I'm sorry, okay, no. There would be three, would be the chair of the chamber that would lead this, because you have to have somebody lead it. But I asked Derlin, I said, when Derlin and I met about this, I said, somebody from the town like himself should be there and meet with the person. It would be Derlin, it would be Dan McKay at this time. I mean, I'm just saying that because he's the chair of the committee, and Lisa. And those three would put this whole thing together. Now, you only need, and like Dan and I said, he would be there to support and to advise and have them be supportive for that committee. But you can only have one boss. So it would be Lisa, the chair person. But they have to work together, and that's the key. I can tell you my thoughts. I mean, you read this. My thought was when I did it, when they hired the chamber to do this in Ellsworth, Michelle Beal was equal, in my eyes, to the chamber board president. Just because of all the funding, and they knew what was happening in the city, much more than we did at times. So,
well, you were the economic development. First, you were the chamber, and then you were the economic development director.
no, I was
for
the
city.
chamber for 17 years.
Right.
For the last 3 years, they contracted with the chamber $48,000 a year.
I see.
So, and at that point, it was Kevin Tessio. He was the chamber board, and then we had Michelle Beal. They met with me on a monthly basis. Kevin met with me on a weekly basis.
But then eventually you became an employee.
Yes, they said,
Yeah.
I couldn't do both.
Right.
So I asked them, and that's when they asked me to move.
Right.
But I'm sorry that you didn't get to read all this. I mean, it's really detailed and reading for it. And, I just want to thank you all for taking the time to do that. After 3 years here, I really believe in the town of Mount Desert. And there's so much little things that can be done. There's always the big things, but you start little and move. And you get, so I think it's great. I mean, everybody's helped me a lot. And as you know, I'll be retiring, but I have promised to the chamber I would be you know, there for to mentor Maddie right now. She'll be leaving. She wouldn't be this position. But I'll be there to mentor and to help through this if it's all possible. I'm sorry, I'm just rambling, but
I have a question about, just not about the, because I haven't had a chance either to read that in depth, but just on the application form, it has a gross operating budget of $100,000 and gross payroll of $90,000.
that I think is a little off. It's the gross payroll, I mean, yeah, the gross budget should be up to now to 115.
115?
So that means 90,000 of 115 is spent on salary.
Yes. We don't spend a lot. We do
Okay.
a lot without money. I'll tell you.
And then the second question I had was, you said you have over 130 members and they pay between $115 and $290 annually for membership. Okay, so that amounts to somewhere in the neighborhood of 25,000.
Then we also have the map that we give out.
Yeah.
And that makes us, net, I'm gonna tell you, net 6,000.
And paying for the person to sit down at the
Oh, yes, that's part
chamber.
of the salary.
Yes,
Well, that's all in here.
yeah, it is, but that's a lot of hours and
Like this year, we couldn't hire anyone, so I did, you know, so, because you need to be there 7 days a week. Martha, can you go back to the question?
Sure, yeah.
When you asked about, like, when you guys had a consultant, I think whatever that person did was great. I mean, the things that happened. I think the problem is, and that's what you have to look at, is that you can't stop and start. You can say to whoever, let's say you hire somebody here with the chamber, if they don't work, of course they have to stop if they don't work it. But you need to consistently keep going to see the difference. And consultants are great, but they don't last. I mean, that's not their purpose. Be there forever.
There was at that time, there was a strong sentiment in the town not to hire a economic development person.
Right.
And even the consultant, even though a lot of the payment for that consultant came through donations, there was a strong sentiment against having it. So, but I appreciate, and I look forward to reading your
I will add to what Martha just said. Because I remember it must have been 2012. I was not on this board. But I got involved with the sort of ad hoc economic development committee. And I was asked on one of our conference calls, oh, why don't you call Tom Richardson to see if you can get us on the payroll? We as a committee had decided we were going to work with the SRA to fund half of a consulting position. And I love Tom, and he sort of very politely told me what I could do with my request. And then I think between Darlene and Martha, they managed to get it on there. And I remember that first year, even as a matching grant, essentially from the SRA, it was by far the longest conversation at town meeting that year. And I look back the previous 10 years, and it's just been, it's gone from people not wanting to pay for it, and then saying, why isn't the chamber doing this? And then saying, we need a full-time town employee. And
it's been,
it's just, yeah.
been hard.
Okay, I
Been a
think
lot
with
of-
every municipal, I'm sorry. Can I speak? I think every municipality has gone through that. Some municipalities has got farther with it. It's because it's subjective. Economic development is subjective. You've got a code enforcement officer, pretty black and white, and you gotta have that. But economic development is subjective, so it's hard to gauge. And I'm not saying that it all works, because it doesn't always work. I'm not good. I mean, I'm a realist. And let me tell you, the times I wanted to go to the council and say, just take it back. You know, it was tough. But I think it is a positive. I mean, there are so many opportunities that are coming down the pipe for municipalities. And I have to tell you, Derlin and I have been in contact since I've been working here, because I felt, and you can ask the board, I see Derlin as my boss as well as Lisa and the board. That's why I would call him and say, I'm on vacation. Do you need anything? Can I do this? Derlin knew what we were doing as much as possible. And when I was there and I wasn't there. Because I felt that I paid $27,000. That helps a lot. And I respect that. So, Derlin, I kept him abreast of most things.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Kathy Miller has a question.
Kathy,
Yes, I am a member of the Economic Development Committee, and I know that we would get much more done if we had a staff person or somebody with that charge. And so it's hard to make plans, and as Mickey said, it's hard to move things forward if you don't have somebody who's tasked with it, and it's an all volunteer group. But I wondered, is there a job description that was created to go along with this? Or what I have seen is only what was in the packet from third-party requests. And so I wondered if there was a fuller description of what the anticipated job description would be, qualifications, who would fill that job, et cetera.
There is a proposal, Kathy, that has all that. You did not, I don't think people received it, because the selectmen just received it.
Okay. Yeah, it would be good to get that before we get into our discussions, because it didn't come along to the warrant committee anyway. So thank you.
Yes.
We just received, Kathy, we just received it tonight. I'll be emailing it out as soon as I have an electronic copy.
And we can put it on the website in the minutes or somewhere, right? Or on the packet for Monday, maybe?
Mhm.
So the public can get it.
Because I was speaking for a minute, really, Vicky, thank you for all the work you did. And I hear you, but it's just really important that the story is told correctly.
Yeah.
And that's what I think citizens need to really know, what that person was doing.
Right.
It was always the job description, and know that you, Lisa, and Derlin are accountable to that person. It's a big change. It's not an end.
I just have to, thank you for saying, I have to tell you, just because I'm so used to asking for money at times for different things, when that happens, and you can ask Mark, that's a big deal to me. And I have to prove my worth for that money.
Thank you for that.
Yes. Martha.
We go way back.
Could I ask one more question?
yes.
It's Craig Roebuck from the Warrant Committee. So as I understand, this is a new position, and the funding for the town would be a pretty big increase here, almost double from the previous year. But I guess my question is there a commensurate increase in the membership dues that would cover or offset some of this position's funding? In other words, are the members going to kick in?
We increased the membership dues this year. And they will, you know what I mean? So that will help. Oh, our membership fees help a lot in many different ways.
Can I ask how much, like, do you have a percentage where the dues doubled, or is it a 10% raise, or?
Well, I would say it didn't, the dues, the number of people have doubled. The dues are now up, it was about a 10% raise. Increase, I should say, not raise, increase for the dues.
Okay, thanks.
But Vicki, our number of members has increased by what, 65% over the past 2 years.
Wow,
Oh,
That's
yeah.
great. That's awesome.
that's great.
Yeah.
That is great.
I forget to say those things because I just work so hard at it and I just don't, but we have got many more members, and that is because of the communication, of the constant contact with them, trying to make sure their businesses can be retained and grow and stuff. I have to tell you, the pandemic, as bad as it was, brought a lot of the groups together and communicated, and it made us all have to work together I mean, it was days starting at 6 in the morning until 9 at night, including the businesses that would come down to the center and sit with me and we look at their financials and try to figure out, are they gonna make it? And how can they make it? And then I would call the governor's office and said, okay, this PPP has to get in. And then their bank would get, so it was a constant work for 2 years.
So does this 130 plus members include that increase? The 65% increase?
Yes.
And do you have any idea how many of those businesses out of 130 plus are businesses that operate in the town of Mount Desert?
I would say 75.
75
75 to 80.
of the 130?
Yeah. I can't give you, I don't think they're in hundred.
Okay,
There's
thank
a
you.
lot of small businesses people don't realize.
Mhm.
I didn't realize.
Well, and even MD 365, like their boot camp, and I've been
Right.
following that. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh my goodness, I've
That's
never
right.
heard of some of these places. So it's true. There's,
Well, I think if people don't realize, besides Mount Desert, the island has thousands of businesses. You just don't realize, because a lot of them are at home.
right.
All right, well, thank you, Mickey.
Thank you.
Thank
Mickey.
Thank you.
All right, Mount Desert Island Historical Society.
Hi, I'm Leah Lucy, and I'm the Director of Operations at the Mount Desert Island Historical Society, filling in for Rainy Bench tonight. Our mission is to foster meaningful engagement with the histories of Mount Desert Island. We have two campuses, the Sound Schoolhouse and the Soamesville Museum and Gardens. We offer 3 exhibits across those campuses. We have a research room, and we have over 15,000 records in our collection. We also offer educational programs and lectures to the public, and we publish our annual journal, Chewbacca. I thank the town for their continued support, and this year we are once again asking for $2,500 for our Soamesville campus to help with the costs of our free public Wi-Fi and our free public porta potty. The funding also helps us maintain the gardens and the campus there in Soamesville. Does anyone have any questions?
This is Jeff Wood here. I've been seeing your overall operating budget of $233,000. Where does the lion's share of your funding come from? Because it can't come from $30 per person membership. Do you have just
No, we
donors
have
or?
funding. Yeah, we have funding from donors. We have small fundraising events, and we have over 500 members. And membership dues are between $30 and over $1,000 people give us. So we have very generous donors.
Terrific.
And we
Thank
do
you
have
very
some
much.
grant funding as well.
Great.
Very good, thank you. Any questions, anyone?
No, just statement that they're hoping to do a fundraiser for the schoolhouse in Soamesville, for the school marm to come, and I'm Leah, I'm the new school marm to come. Yes, replace Maud March.
Oh, okay.
And I did that. It was so fun with the school last year with little bits, but we're trying to do a fundraiser for adults. And it got canceled because of COVID, but I'm like, I love what you're doing and your program and the kids. I can't tell you like what it was to be with those kids up there and show them what it was like to be in school back then. And I just have to, again, I didn't do that a lot growing up, but my kids all did. And now I'm very excited. So I just think it's an amazing program. So I hope we can get that adult fundraiser off with no COVID.
We hope so too. Thank you so much.
I know that another quick comment, when Stacy and I were getting married, we wanted to get married down by the bridge in Soamesville. And we reached out to them and asked them what it would take for us to be allowed. And they said, well, you could join for $30. Wow. So we did, and that's where we got married. So.
But I don't know. I feel like the history is important to keep with our kids and our community. And so, thank you.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Leah.
Thank
Okay,
you.
next up, Mount Desert Masonic Lodge.
Nursery school.
Oh, yeah.
No, I got the massage.
Oh, yeah, I don't have a.
I didn't get the massage.
Yeah, we
clause.
wasn't in the-
Well, they don't fill one out. Geraldine just gives them a number. gives
Oh.
a number.
That's the one where they give us the water. we
Yeah.
give
Oh,
them
right, right,
Okay.
right.
The taxes on their theater.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
Yeah.
Will that continue with the fire station renovation?
May not.
That's also
Depends on what the water supply winds up being, so it may not.
Oh,
Still an unknown.
Yeah. Okay, so now the Mount Desert Nursery School. Sarah
Hi there.
Hinckley.
This is Sarah and I'm Ashley. I'm the treasurer on the board and Sarah's our new executive director this year. We've been serving the island and surrounding communities this is our 45th year as a nonprofit daycare center right in Northeast Harbor. Currently, we have 15 students and a wait list of 8 and growing. We have 3 full-time staff, including Sarah, and we are asking for $9,200, which is more than we've previously asked for. 3 line items would cover that amount. Our roof is 20 years old, but we are hoping to get away with a repair of the seam of $1,200 to buy us a little bit of time. We'd love to add a washer and dryer, if you can believe it. It's been 45 years and no washer and dryer. Staff has kindly been doing laundry for any messes that happen. So that would be nice to add. And then we've had an ongoing fundraiser for our basement to fully finish it with drywall, to expand our storage and potentially add a staff bathroom down there. So we've asked for a big chunk of that $9,200 to go towards that fundraising as well.
Good, thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
So last year or the year before, because they all blend together in my world, we talked about the nursery school doing a pre-K program. Is this a nursery school question or is this a school question or is this a question?
It was covered in the school presentation. They're gonna do the pre-K at the
At the
school.
school this year. And so
Right.
the school came and did their presentation for their budget and.
To the selectmen, but not yet to the warrant.
Right.
Correct. And the nursery school is not part of the pre-K program at this time.
Okay.
So
As a follow-up to that, do you anticipate that impacting the enrollment, or are you gonna change your programming to adapt, or?
We looked at current enrollment the last few years, and to be honest, the bulk of our students now and in the last 5 years has been those 2 to 3 year olds. And again, the bulk of the wait list is that earlier age as well. So we're planning on sticking with the current age range of 2 to 5. And then if we were to have the washer and dryer, we would then extend it to children who may be just starting potty training rather than only requiring it for those who are already potty trained to kind of close that gap.
that's exciting because I
Thank
think
you.
that's a need for our town. So thank you. That's super great.
Great. Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Mount Desert Nursing Association.
There. Nice to see you all. Thank you. Amy McVetti here, representing Mount Desert Nursing Association. I'm the new executive director. I've been in the seat for a year. And we are asking for the same donation as we have in the past years of $35,000 to support the work that we do, keeping our neighbors healthy at home, providing home care services to them. We actually increased the number of residents of Mount Desert that we served this year from last year's 48 to this year of 92 community members that we served. And so that money really does help offset some of the cost of providing the services. We're in a little bit of a unique situation as a nonprofit, being a healthcare nonprofit, because our salary expenses are very significant because we have, skilled clinicians out in the field and they don't come with a cheap price tag. You want highly skilled professionals out there caring for your family members and caring for patients. And we're very fortunate to have that. We did do a little salary increase this year for them to make them at least a little bit more competitive with the market. We were having a lot of difficulty recruiting staff to work here. And so we needed to increase some of those salaries. Unfortunately, that isn't reflected on your application from us, because we just actually an hour ago, we're looking at and finalizing our budget, which hasn't yet been done, but our salaries bumped up significantly from last year, around 500,000 to it looks like around 700,000 for our salaries this year. So we definitely need funds to help offset some of that. Any questions?
Any questions?
I just have a question, Amy, about the private pay visits.
Yeah.
Do you have the staff available to, like, if someone needs private pay to, do you have the staff to help with that?
We do. Yes, we do. It's not common, honestly, that folks that need our services don't qualify for Medicare or some kind of private insurance. But in the event that they don't have a skilled need, they maybe just need a med box filled every week or every 2 weeks. We definitely do have staff to go out and do that for a private pay fee. What we don't have, and we've been looking for a year and then some prior to me starting here, are home health aides. So there's a huge need for folks in our community to, have a bath or have a shower or have someone come in and spend an hour and just pick up light housekeeping. We're not housekeepers, but we would pick up an area and make sure they had a grilled cheese and get them a shower or help them with their ADLs. And we can't find anybody. Despite a lot, I'm sure that you all have seen different forms of us advertising for various positions over this past year. I know we're not in a unique situation. It's been really challenging for everybody. And across the nation for healthcare, it's really, we're at a crossroads of trying to find, staff. So that is definitely a gap, the home health aide piece. And a lot of that, and I bring that up because a lot of that would be private pay, those home health aide visits.
And do you let people know, like when they call and ask for help, do you let them know that that's an opportunity for home to self-pay?
Yes, oh, for sure. Yes, when they call in, if we don't think that they meet the need, if they don't meet criteria to be covered through insurance, then we always offer them the opportunity for private pay. For example, we had a patient just last week who unfortunately, we didn't take her insurance. It doesn't happen very often, maybe only a handful of times in a year when we didn't take her primary insurance. And same, I offered to her, I'm like, we're happy to come out and do a private pay. You're going to be a short-term patient. If you want to use our services, we're happy to provide them to you.
Right, thank you. Okay, I think we can skip over Northeast Ambulance Service. Northeast Harbor Library, Ellie.
Hi, good evening. I'm Ellie Andrews, Director of the Northeast Harbor Library. I thank you very much for this opportunity to request funding for the library at this time. The library serves the town of Mount Desert and the Cranberry Isles and surrounding towns. The library is an open space free to everybody. Thankfully, 2021 was a big improvement over the prior year when COVID hit. We increased our circulation numbers by 6,000, checking out 36,587 items. Our visitor numbers increased by around 9,000, totaling 31,827. We lend out books, DVDs, audios, children's sporting toys, magazines, all for free. We serve as a school library for the Mount Desert Elementary School. And last year, the children had their library time remotely until March 8th, when they were able to come over for classes. And they've come over for classes starting in September. They're in the kids' room, so they're up and going. We offer a variety of programs for children and adults. And this year it was mostly via Zoom. We have an extensive archive collection, and to date have about 20,000 items scanned in a digitized format. We also house the town records. In addition, we run a scholarship program, which is available to high school students who wish to further their education. Residents of Mount Desert and the Cranberry Isles are eligible to apply. And last year we awarded 24 scholarships at $2,500. And the scholarships are awarded for 5 years. And just to say the library has a lot of moving parts, including utilities. We offer something for everybody, young, old, and in between. And this year I'm asking for $20,500 to help with library acquisitions, salary staffs, and programs. Thank you again.
Thank you, Ellie.
Thanks, Ellie.
Okay,
Can I ask one quick question? I don't, the school came in and did their budget, and there was somebody asked a question about the librarian and their budget. Can you explain how their funding for the librarian fits in with your overall budget, just quickly? Like, is it part of that 461,000, or is that separate from that?
That's separate.
Okay.
So it would be really expensive for the school to have a library. So actually,
No, I understand that. But they pay it, I don't remember what they pay the librarian salary.
They have a percent. Right?
Yeah, I mean, it goes towards the librarians. I mean, yes, they do, plus a little extra. Yeah.
I'm just trying to wrap my mind around where all the funding is going, and anyway, that's fine. Thank you.
Acquisitions, children's programs, utilities, staff. Yeah.
okay. Thanks, Ellie.
Thank you.
Northern Light Home Care and Hospice. Oh, I'm sorry, Northeast Harbor,
BIS.
BIS.
Good evening. You hear me?
Yeah.
It's Jerry Summonsby, and we're requesting $5,000 as we did last year to help defray the cost of the maintaining the vistas on Sergeant's Drive and coming into the head of the harbor, and to maintain the public trail system connecting us all to the Headlock and the Kidney National Park.
Great. Jerry, you guys do a great job. Yep.
Little elves scurrying around up there in the woods.
All right. Any questions for Jerry? Oh,
Love the trails.
yep.
And little math is great.
Okay.
Oh, well, yeah, it makes more people.
Northern Light Home Care and Hospice.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Todd Nicholson. I'm from Northern Light Home Care and Hospice. And first of all, I want to thank you folks for making a grant to our agency over the past 12 years for $1,200 a year. And that's what we're seeking again this year. Your support is meaningful and it's acknowledged, and we thank you for it. So while we're based in South Portland, we have offices throughout the state, and the office that serves your community is in Ellsworth. We provide home care and hospice services to people all over the state. And last year we had 5 folks in Mount Desert with a total of 97 patient visits. In years past, there's been as many as 12 patients, both for home care and hospice. And another thing I'd like to note that we do is that we provide public health services. And over the past year, we held, not necessarily in your town, but across the state, 436 community COVID clinics and 180 school-based COVID clinics. So we serve an important public health role in the state, and it's important, and we're proud of the work that we do. We delivered over 57,000 vaccines across the state to people, and with 400 of them being administered to homebound folks. So we provide a high quality and compassionate home care to people who need it. And we also provide hospice services. And Maine Care, principally Maine Care, only covers about 50% of those services. And then and Medicare, while it provides a bit more, still doesn't cover the entire cost of those services. And that's where the gaps are often created. And we also want to note that we're the only nonprofit hospice provider on Mount Desert Island. And I just want to share with you another note that, Amy noted the home health aid problem. We share the same problem, and we do have some workforce grants in place that allow us to try to address that gap with home health aides, because they're vitally important to the work that we do. So developing that capability is important to us, and we're working on it. Thank you. Happy to answer any questions if there are any.
So I have a question.
Yes.
The paperwork says 4 patients referred for a total of 40 visits. And yet, what I heard this evening is 5 patients and 90 visits. I don't understand the discrepancy.
The reason for that is I realized today that we didn't include Northeast Harbor in those 4 visits, and there was a hospice patient in Northeast Harbor that I added into the totals.
Thank you.
Sure.
One question. The other evening, we met with someone from, I believe was Hospice Volunteers of Hancock County. Do you coordinate or collaborate with them or in similar groups to them around
We do.
the state?
Yep, we absolutely do.
We're working together.
Yep, sure do.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Appreciate your time.
This is Jackie. I'm also with Northern Light Home Care and Hospice. I have been working with all of you for many, many years, but I'm semi-retired now and have become a grant specialist, and Todd asked me to join tonight. I want to reiterate that Hospice Volunteers of Hancock County are a partner of ours. We contract with them to provide our volunteer services. They are not a hospice provider. We are the hospice provider. We work very closely with them. We have a wonderful relationship. But in Hancock County, there's often a confusion that they're the hospice provider. We're the Medicare hospice provider of those services. So we contract with them to, Medicare allows, has a requirement, actually, it doesn't allow it, that 5% of the hospice care is provided by volunteers. And that is the segment of care that Volunteers of Hancock County work with us on. Otherwise, we are the providers of the actual hospice care. I also just want to mention to you our workforce development efforts in the area of CNAs and home health aides. We just received a $100,000 grant from MEHAF, which is the Maine Health Access Foundation, to actually work on immigration to work, to get these new Mainers up and running and trained as home health aides to provide some of the care in the areas or other jobs that are really lacking here in Maine. So we are really have a robust effort going on, and I just would like you to understand, because Northern Light Health is a giant, but it's also working diligently to take care of the health of our communities. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we can skip over Pretty Marsh Community Corporation, and Seal Harbor Library Association is next. Joy.
Yes, hello, this is Joy Orleman. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Excellent. So we are requesting, as we have for several years now, $5,000 from the town for our gross operating budget of $22,000, and that is for operating expenses and building maintenance, book acquisition, employee salaries. And we have other sources of income which come from our very generous donors, patrons, and board members. We send out an annual appeal letter and also hold an annual book sale and fair where we do a significant amount of fundraising. Services that we do provide to the community are free internet access, access to books, videos, magazines. During the summer months, we are open 6 days a week. During the winter months, we're open 1 day a week. Some of our activities and programs were suspended during COVID, like our children's program, amongst others. But this summer, we were able to once again hold our book club out on the green where we could socially distance. And we were also able to resume with our annual book sale and fair. So I'm a little bit new to the position. Mary Silverman retired last year in 2021. So I'll be happy to field any questions. If there's something I don't know the answer to, I'll be happy to get in touch with someone on the board and get back to you on that. We do appreciate the town's support in helping us do what we do and offer what we do offer. Thank you.
Can you please say again the amount you're requesting?
Yeah.
We're requesting 4,000 from the town.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Seal Harbor VIS.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. My name's Alex Stevens. This will be my 7th year as president of the Seal Harbor VIS, a nonprofit that was started 122 years ago. As many as you know, our organization is responsible for maintaining the Seal Harbor Beach, including the parking lot and the comfort station, the Village Green, as well as several other monuments and trails around Seal Harbor. We have 3 salaried employees, 1 full-time, that would be Larry Taylor, who I'm sure many of you know. He's sort of the face of the VIS. And 2 part-time employees, Lisa Taylor and Deb Brown, who's our treasurer and office manager. We also hire seasonal helpers in the busy summer months. As we all know, the last year we saw record numbers of visitors to MDI in the park, and we definitely saw an uptick in traffic and visitors in Seal Harbor and the beach especially, which meant a lot more work for Larry. We do a lot for the village, and most of our budget is covered by private donations, but we can't do it without the support of the town. So I'm here to request that we do each year the grant to help offset our operating costs. The grant covers roughly 30% of our budget. And like a lot of organizations, we have seen a rise in costs from everything from our supplies to Larry's health insurance. And then of course, there are unforeseen expenses. Just this fall, we had to replace the tires on the tractor that Larry uses to rake the beach each morning. And that was about $5,000. We also replaced several of the diseased maple trees that had to be taken down with new ones that were donated by our members. As president, I'm deeply grateful for the town's annual support of the VIS, and it goes a long way in helping us sustain our organization. So thank you again, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Just Alex, are you guys planning to open the restrooms?
Yes, I think so, yeah.
Capacity, okay, thank you.
Okay, great.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Sonesville Library Association, Steve.
Hi, I'm Steve Anastasia. I'm the treasurer for the Sonesville Library Association, which is a nonprofit that manages and maintains the historic Sonesville Library right in downtown. We operate on a budget of about $42,000 a year. 75% of that money comes from either direct fundraising by the board and those of us who are involved with the library, as well as through an annual deal. And what we're going to request is the same amounts that we have requested in previous years, which is $11,000. And what that will be used for is a portion of the librarian's salary, utilities, grounds maintenance, as well as book purchases. And that just helps us round it out and keep us open as we have been. One of the things that's changed with COVID is we have seen our in-person numbers drop, and some of the events and some of the community related functions that we serve don't seem to be as appropriate given the concerns like Omicron. So we've started to move into doing some online workshops. Most recently, we had one about a month ago where we had about 25 people come in, and we had a series of a workshop focused on bread baking, and then corresponded that with offerings in the library on that same subject. And we look forward to doing more of those in the winter months. And then in the summertime, things seem to be returning to normal consistently. And so our numbers do increase back to pre-pandemic levels at that time of year.
You gonna sell any of that bread?
I've changed around some things in my life, so yeah, not right now.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions?
No, thank you.
All right.
Thank you. All right, Charlie.
I'm Charlie Werner, I'm president of Somerville BIS. We provide flower boxes that you see on the by the mill pond, maintenance of the arch bridge by the Selectmen's building, the flagpole array at 102 and 198. We clean scenic vistas. Last year, we helped contribute to the renovation of the porch and the ramp and the landscape of the Masonic Hall. And we're asking for $3,000.
Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie. Okay. And SPCA of Hancock County.
Yes, thank you guys very much. Hearty hello from the SPCA, and just thank you very much for welcoming and inviting us to your town meeting, of course, too. As you guys probably know, our facility is 100% community dependent. We don't receive funds from the federal government to operate. So thank you for the opportunity to speak about what we do. So our mission, of course, is to provide protection, shelter, and assistance to animals in need, also to promote and advocate for their health and welfare, and to facilitate their placement into loving, responsible, forever homes. So much of what we do extends far beyond just placing animals with new adopters. Really, we exist to serve our community in any capacity that's going to strengthen as many lives as possible, humans and animals. So in addition to the 500 animals that we did directly support in our shelter last year, we thought these following programs might be of particular interest to your communities. For instance, we're building a collaborative Tnr project, which stands for Trap, Neuter, and Release, where we work with local community members to trap feral or otherwise homeless animals. So we then coordinate and pay for their medical bills, for their spay-neuter surgeries, and facilitate their return back to safe environments. For the greater MDI area, we are able to help 44 different cats. And within the Mount Desert town lines alone, we are able to help 16 cats. And that's just in those communities. Of course, we helped many others. And those numbers might feel low, but when you think about how many litters that stopped, those numbers are very exponential and really helps build the quality of animal care in communities in our area. So we also host community spay-neuter clinics. These clinics provide increased access to essential veterinary services at a time when vet clinics are booking out months in advance in our area. They also offer eligible families financial assistance at the cost. Sometimes these costs are very unattainable for these families. So it's really essential to help control our overpopulation concerns and for improving the overall quality of animal health in this area. We hosted 2 clinics in the past 6 months and helped over 200 animals. So those are 2 programs that would be very readily available to your community. We have a lot of other initiatives and projects for the future, really geared around supporting our community. So we just thank you very much. You know, our ability to do this amazing work is 100% dependent on the continued support from great towns like yourself. So thank you very much. And are there any other questions or curiosities about our work or our future?
No, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Samantha. Wic Nutrition Program.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Jackie Ewing, and I am the current Wic Director, and that is for Washington and Hancock counties. This is my first time attending one of your town meetings, so I am very happy to be here. I'm also very grateful for the support that you have lent us, and hope that we continue to receive that same support. WIC stands for Women, Infants, and Children, and we offer vouchers for nutritious foods to low-income women who are pregnant, breastfeeding, or recently have had a baby, and to infants and children up to 5. We also provide nutrition education, health screenings, and support, focusing on the strengths and needs of individual families. Our participants have access to a registered dietitian, as well as a breastfeeding coordinator and 3 breast chest feeding counselors. Since 2020, almost 20 families have received over 12,000 in food vouchers and farmers market vouchers in the town of Mount Desert. This year, the Women, Infants, and Children's Program respectfully requests financial assistance in the amount of $450. That represents about $50 per resident served. Federal funding will match up to $2,000 of municipal contributions, which will amplify your support to us. Because transportation often is a difficult issue for our families, providing access to WIC at the local level is vital. As in the past, WIC will continue to accommodate rural families as its main offices in Ellsworth, Machias, Calais, as well as satellite locations in Stonington, Bucksport, Eastport, Harrington, and other small island communities. Local community support is vital for WIC to maintain its critical rural access points. We are very, very grateful for your support, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Can you clarify the amount that you're requesting?
Sorry, I did not hear that.
Clarify the amount that you're requesting.
It's different.
Are you requesting $495?
Or
$495.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
How about American Red Cross? Are they here?
Good evening. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
All right. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to you all this evening. My name is Rachel. I'm speaking to you from the American Red Cross of Northern New England. We are requesting level funding this year, $3,500. This would be for our general operating fund and would allow us to continue to stand at the ready to respond to any disasters as they may arise in your community. Locally, the most common disaster that we respond to is a home fire. When we respond to a home fire, we have volunteers who are on site to provide those affected with emergency food, shelter, clothing, financial assistance, supportive services such as counseling and referrals to that sort of thing. So really just providing folks with everything they need in those immediate moments following a devastating occurrence such as a home fire. We also work to make sure that our communities are prepared for events such as home fires or weather-related disasters. So we provide education programs to school-age children, to various groups throughout the community, just always working to make sure that our communities are educated and prepared. And of course, in addition to the disaster response services, we also provide blood collection services. Last year, our blood drives are reported at the county level. So last year we collected over 1,500 pints of blood in Hancock County. Blood collected stays in our region, so it's all distributed to hospitals in our region. And as for disaster response, sorry, my kids are going to bed and crying upstairs. Sorry if I'm getting distracted. As for disaster response, we did not respond to any home fires in Mount Desert last year, which simply means that we were not called to any home fires in Mount Desert. But as I said before, we always stand at the ready to be there at a moment's notice.
Great. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you so much.
Carmen.
Just as wondering if you are requesting the same amount from the other communities on the island, other towns?
So we base our request amount really on historic giving. So I would have to look at that. Give me just, I can look at that, but it'll take me a moment.
It's just for upstairs.
I mean, do you go to the other towns though and ask for assistance?
Okay, so we request, and please forgive me, I'm actually coming to you from Burlington, Vermont. I support fundraising operations for our 3-state region. So I'm not as geographically familiar with your corner of the world. But Bar Harbor is on the island, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we request 2,100 from them. And I don't recall offhand if we're invited to their meeting or not. But Bar Harbor, I think, is the only town on the island, the only other town on the island that we request funding from.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Oh, that's fine.
That's fine. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. Now I think Downey's Community Partners, is that correct?
Good evening. My name is Rebecca Palmer, and I serve as Downey's Community Partners Executive Director. And I wanted to greet the select members and the staff and to thank you for your historical support of DCP's services. Our mission is to improve the quality of life and reduce the impact of poverty in Downey's communities, which of course includes MDI. There are pockets of need there. So we're requesting, again, coming back to you for support and leverage the funding to provide and expand services in your community. In our proposal, we outline what the amount expended in dollar value and goods and services based on the services that were requested from MDI residents and received the following services, which is child and maternal health, the heating and warmth fund, which we call THAW, LIHEAP, which is fuel assistance, housing, transportation really was one of our big ticket items for you there. And it's the number of rides, which was over 1,000. We also have a program locally for aging in place, a wonderful little Christmas magic program, and then also whole family coaching. We're asking, the value of that is $42,000 and change, and we're asking for a total of $2,150. We also provide some weatherization for folks that need a little more support and or install heat pumps for those who are income eligible. I want to thank you for your ongoing support to us. And it's my first time attending your meeting, and I've been really interested in the other presentations. It's like, oh, you know, I think I want to work in that library. I like the librarian presentation, or what was then presented around the intervention and spading and neutering of feral animals and what that actually prevents, and also supplies nice homes. So it's wonderful to be here and hear my other counterparts' requests, and just want to thank you for your ongoing support. And we're here and to the ready to be supporting your low-income citizens.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have a question. I mean, this is, you have a gross operating budget it says $22 million. It's an enormous, where does the lion's share of your funding come from? And
Yeah,
that's a budget.
It's pretty big, isn't it? I joined DCP in August and was unaware of how the breadth of our services, and we're the largest nonprofit in both Hancock and Washington counties. A lot of our costs have been passed through, and really the total number was inflated due to the COVID care funds. And we're supplying emergency rental assistance, as well as what's our low income heat. And those are federal contracts that actually come through the state and then come through from the feds to the state and then a pass through DCP. So
Okay.
that's the majority of that. We're, in my opinion, too heavily reliant on government funds, and this kind of funding can actually serve as a match for us, as well as just responding to the immediate needs in our community that fall outside of these.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. That helps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
And families first. They were the only other ones.
Hi, I'm here.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Maureen Bartley. I am the program/housing director for Families First Community Center. We are located in Ellsworth, and we are a transitional housing program for homeless families with minor children in their custody. We have 6 apartments at our location at 41 North Street. It's an 1889 Victorian house. We currently are full with 17 people, ages 5 months to 43. We have moms that have been able to reunite their families, secure jobs. And we have our first family that is moving back out into the community with a level of stability that she didn't have before. Our mission is to break the cycle. There's a lot of paperwork and hangups in the social service world that people will just not deal with, and they have the opportunity to be productive in society. They just don't have the skills to overcome some of those barriers. We are asking for $1,000. We reach out to all the municipalities in Hancock County. We get an average of $10,000 from all of the towns that we ask. And that is because we serve Hancock County first. We provide telephone referrals for information. We put people on our wait list for our apartments. And we receive some monies from churches to give gas cards, food cards for some temporary assistance. Our goal is to expand our services from outside of the house to some outreach in the community. We're really focused on getting people to as many services as we can. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
I have a question. How long is the typical stay in your facility?
We, part of the program is maintaining a lease to establish rental history. So we work very closely with the MDI, Ellsworth Housing Authority, for the project-based vouchers. If they maintain a unit, pay their rent, they are eligible for a Section 8 voucher to go into the community. It takes a minimum of a year to obtain that. If they have education goals, daycare challenges, they could stay anywhere from a year to 2. It all depends. The other piece that's crucial to our program, which I forgot to mention, is the life plan, which is right in the lease, which is 40 hours of commitment, work, education, or volunteering. So they got to be self-sufficient when they leave, and 40 hours a week of a commitment of meeting with me and maintaining that is helping them.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for adding me to the agenda.
Yeah.
Great, well, very good. And that pretty much wraps that up.
John, I want to confirm we had everyone after tonight that was on the slide is now spoken. So nice job for all the participants, and that's a lot of clarity for what you said.
That's helpful.
Okay, yeah, very helpful.
Can I just ask, do we vote on these as a lump sum or individually, or how do we? I know it's been different over the years, but what's?
We can discuss them individually.
Usually we can vote on it as a lump sum, but we can say we'd like to give less or not fund certain ones, and then the lump sum would be lower.
Yeah.
That's usually the way it goes.
And do we have that lump sum number today, roughly, that we're looking at?
I've got it, I don't have it with me. If you want, I can run down, and tell you what it is, around 360,000, something just off the top of my head.
That's what it's been, it's
That's
been,
what's been
it's
asked.
been around, yeah.
Yeah, 360 to 380 probably. I'll have Monday, I'll have.
We'll have it all
spreadsheets.
Monday.
I'll have spreadsheets for you.
It'd be interesting to compare the last few years.
I thought if you did the lump sum, if there were 3 agencies and each one were asking for $100, and we didn't want to give the second agency $100, we wanted to give it $75. I thought we couldn't just take that. I thought we had to.
Separately.
Separately. I didn't think we could.
We can't change the wording of an article, but we can change the bottom line of the article.
Right, but that means.
By lumping, you're saying?
By lumping, you can't alter that fiscal number, that monetary number, can you?
Yeah.
I think so.
Well, sure you can.
You can.
But not for the agency, right?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Per agency, you can change.
Yes,
We
you
could
can.
say the American Red Cross now get $3,800.
Which will change the lump sum.
Take $300 away from the Sonesville Library. As an example. We're not going to do that, but we happen to be sitting in the room. Or we could do it the opposite way around. We could give you $4,000. Excellent.
We did that last year. We
Yeah.
had more than that.
I think we gave Red Cross more than that.
I think it was Wic.
The WIC, yeah. But, okay,
Maybe
yeah,
you're right.
I remember that. All right, any other business? I will take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you.
Before you guys go.